Hey folks, Curtis here. Got my shirt on backwards. Y'all will notice that. Just had a day of appliance repair. Look, about a year ago, I just realized I got my shirt on backwards. Hey, it's warmer this way. You know, it was cold. Anyway, look, what I want to talk to y'all about was one year in. I started out last year with ID Life, but it was a journey about toxins. And oh my God, I want to keep it simple, but my friends say, Curtis, you got to keep it simple. But I want to explain how just identifying, uh, just there was a thought this time of year. Actually it involved what you put on your body and what you put in your body. Um, I signed up for Nu Skin as a Nu Skin distributor because something in me was prompted to look at what we put on our skin and toxins. And so I'm going to talk about them. Oh my God, toxins. But I was able to uh, learn about my body and even my genetics that I actually have what's called the compound MTHFR. In other words, I don't get rid of toxins that if I eat the wrong food, which a lot of the food that you get at the supermarket has toxins in it, artificial sweeteners, blah, blah, blah. And then that was causing me an energy loss. Well, we're just eating whatever's coming along. What's the big deal? Okay? It is a big deal. And for you ladies, if you're putting a lot of petroleum products on there, you're getting exposed as well. So if you're buying the cheap makeup with petroleum products, you're basically exposing yourself to the skin. Your skin is your biggest organ. The skin is your biggest organ, so you're absorbing this. It's going into your gut. It's going in, affecting your eyesight. It can affect your brain. It can cause you to have headaches. So if you look on my post recently, as I've gone through exploring this, my folks, my grandfather and my great uncle was exposed to toxins in agricultural environments. They had Parkinson's disease. I'm going last night, and Jordan Peterson is talking to two doctors that have explored household mold and the way homes were built, starting about the 70s, 80s with basically sheetrock, wallboard. And then when it gets hit with exposure like water damage, that we have a mold problem. Folks, I don't know where I'm going with this. But while we was asleep or while we was running the rat race, things were happening in our society, I'm saying around the 70s. More than that, we can get it back to 1910 when the Industrial Revolution was kicking off and a big high dollar man, a rich man, started moving away from herbal doctor stuff. And you can research this. I know you're like, believe it or not, CJ's coming up, Curtis is coming up with all these conspiracy theories. But what I'm saying is America was in the baby boom and fighting wars, and all this was going on in the Industrial Revolution, and we were just trying to make a living, and now you're 60 years old and you're trying to figure out why you're sick. There's a lot of things that happened that nobody thought was going to be a big deal. I mean, what's the difference if we start using sheetrock and gypsum in our homes? It's not a big deal. We started painting the walls and sealing it, and we made the houses airtight. I've shared the video, and there's a doctors on there talking about these things, and then we have these autoimmune diseases popping up, and we don't know why, right? Well, we were too busy trying to make a living. That's 1 year. Sounds nerdy, may be of interest to you. But what you're putting on your skin, what you're buying at the supermarket, what you're buying at the, for makeup, all these exposures, it might be the reason you're sick. And it's coming back to genetics. Okay, so I took a DNA test, and that's where I found my MTHFR. I'm compound, 50 to 80%. What that means to you is, let's say your old can of tuna fish has a little bit of mercury, or the bass you caught from the lake has a little bit of mercury. I don't get rid of it. Now, if you don't have that gene dysfunction, you're just gonna be the little slim trim person, and you're gonna be fine. But there's a lot more people that have that MTHFR gene. Now, when I was listening, listen up. What I'm saying, when I was listening to these guys talk about the mold in the house, they kept saying biomarkers, biomarkers, biomarkers. That's your DNA. That's your genes. And they said, actually, in that study, and I'm sorry, my bird's going to get louder and louder. That's the way it is. They were saying that when they pulled people out, they were looking at biomarkers, and when they got the people out of the environment, things started changing. But as soon as they went back to those old dilapidated buildings, and military friends, here's one that really hit me, because I was back at Tinker Air Force Base a couple years ago, and my friend was telling me that they had basically got the military folks out of those cheap built buildings, and this was before COVID hit. So I don't know why these little things are, why I'm told that, and I'm going to visit. Then a couple years later, I'm watching this, and so our military forces troops were in these mold infested buildings. Well, guess what happens if your military families are in that? Your national defense is threatened, because this stuff was causing depression. It was even talking about suicide. So if you have time, please watch that Jordan Peterson with those two doctors talking about it, especially if you're military. CJ's not crazy. And I'm trying to get y'all to understand, maybe everything's happy and maybe your house has never had water damage, but when they talk about the hurricanes that come in Louisiana, and talking about other foreign countries where there was a major issue with this water intrusion in their home, a medical issue. It's not just that. It's your food. It's what they put in your food. It's toxins. It's what the crop duster sprayed on your family. I'm not losing my mind. When I worked at Purina, the corn had aflatoxins on it. We didn't feed it to the dogs because it'd kill your dog. But if you're eating grains and the way it's stored, it's the storage that happens and causes mold and fungus. So listen up. Chime in if you want to. Swipe if you don't. And drink your beer if you don't feel sick. But if you're sick, start looking at toxins as what's causing it. And it might be your environment. It might be your home. And you might need to make some changes. That video that I just shared today, I'm going to keep talking about it, and I'm going to keep talking about what you put on your body and what you're putting in your body. And I'm not the specimen of health, but I can tell you I made major change when I started doing a detox, watching my food. It made a change. Now I got to worry about my environment, because I think my redneck trailer is probably loaded with mold, and it can cause cancer. Check your home. Check that video. There's some tests you can have done. This is about health and about America being wonderful again. And the main thing is that you do better, whether you're 30 or 60. It was some major powerful stuff on that video. Jordan Peterson and the two doctors talking about even obesity and depression and being isolated. All kind of things are going on. So I want you to be better, and honestly, ID Life, we focus on taking omega-3s, B12, methylfoliation, cells turning on, cells turning off. If your cells aren't turning on, mitochondria, RNA, DNA, you're in you got a problem. Yeah, if you don't understand that, we can start you off just at the basics. I didn't know all this last year. Sounds complicated? It kind of is, but once you educate yourself, I want you to become educated. That especially if you're feeling like crap, you want to look, feel, perform better in your body, then get on start doing something to help your body fight it. And I've got ID Life is where I learned my DNA. It's where we get your DNA and we start helping you in the health deal. Now, if you're on a budget, I got another company that you can start something. I'm just saying start. I don't care. Start taking omega-3s for anti-inflammatory. Take you some magnesium. Start looking at this. It's not a joke, and it's going on. I don't care if you're working out at the gym or whatever. We've had friends that worked out at the gym and they weren't getting in the best health until they did the DNA test and they knew their MTHFR and they eliminated certain foods. And when they did, their cells turned on. If it's for you, great. If not, swipe and go watch some joker jumping off a bridge on his head. All right? I love you, but this is your body and this is your health. Have fun.